All right, today we're diving into a really fascinating proposal coming out of Hartford, Connecticut. It's trying to tackle a problem that, let's be honest, plagues school districts all over the country. The idea? Create something called the Hartford Teachers Advisory Council, or HTAC, to bring teachers' voices right into the heart of policymaking. But, before we can really get into the solution, we have to understand the problem. And it all kind of boils down to this one question. Why is it that so many well-meaning school policies that are actually designed to help kids, just fall flat when they get to the classroom? It's a huge question, so let's break down what's really going on here. So often, the issue is this giant gap between the goals that policymakers set and the day-to-day realities that teachers and students are actually living. On one side, you've got these big picture, sometimes abstract objectives, and on the other, you have the messy, complex, totally dynamic world of a real classroom. And when those two things don't line up, well, that's when good intentions just aren't enough. This gap actually has a name. It's called the policy practice gap. And as we're about to see, this isn't just some academic term or a minor frustration. Nope, it comes with a very real and, frankly, a very high cost. So what exactly is this gap? Well, think of it this way. It's what happens when these big top-down reforms get made without any real meaningful input from the people on the ground. The very educators who are supposed to make these changes happen are often left completely out of the conversation. And what you end up with are policies that just aren't practical. And this problem, wow, it has a staggering price tag. When teachers feel like they're not being heard and when policies just don't work in their classrooms, a lot of them end up leaving the profession. And the cost of recruiting, hiring, and training the replacements, it adds up to an estimated $2.2 billion every single year. And research gives us a huge clue as to what's driving that cost. See, when teachers feel like they have very little authority, very little say in school-wide decisions, the turnover rate can just skyrocket to as high as 22%. We're talking more than 1 in every 5 teachers in that situation leaving their jobs. Okay, so the problem is clear. The costs are huge. How do we fix it? Let's take a closer look at Hartford's idea, the Hartford Teachers Advisory Council, the HTAC. The proposal itself uses this really powerful metaphor. The HTAC is designed to literally be a bridge. It's meant to directly connect the policymakers, the school board, with the expertise and the real-world experience of teachers. It's all about closing that gap we were just talking about. And its goals are super straightforward, really practical. We're talking about creating a formal way to communicate so that board decisions are actually informed by what's happening in schools. That way, resources get used more effectively and policies are grounded in reality, not just in theory. Now, this isn't just some vague concept. The proposal actually lays out a concrete 4-step plan to take the HTAC from an idea on paper to a real, functioning council. It all starts with mobilization, getting the word out, sharing the research, and getting buy-in from everyone involved. Then comes a totally transparent selection process to find a diverse group of teachers to represent their peers. Third, you've got training to make sure these new council members have the skills to be really effective advisors. And finally, integration, plugging them right into the existing board meeting structure to create this constant feedback loop. And here is a really, really crucial point to understand. The HTAC is not about giving teachers a vote on the school board. The proposal is crystal clear on this. The council's role is strictly advisory. Their power comes from providing that indispensable information and expertise, not from casting a ballot. Of course, anytime you have a new idea like this, you're going to get some tough questions and a healthy dose of skepticism. And the authors of this proposal, they saw that coming. They actually addressed some of the most common concerns right up front. Okay, the first big one is always about power, right? Does creating a council of teachers somehow take authority away from the elected or appointed school board members? According to the proposal, the answer is a clear and simple no. Because the HTSC is purely advisory, it can't undermine the board's authority. The whole point isn't to replace the board's power, but to enrich it, to make it smarter with better, more relevant info from the front lines. Then there's the practical concern. People worry that adding another committee or council into the mix is just going to slow everything down, create more red tape. But the counter-argument is that the HTAC is actually designed to do the complete opposite. By plugging directly into meetings that already happen and by flagging potential problems early on, the council could actually make decisions more efficient. It's all about preventing costly mistakes down the line, not adding delays up front. So let's zoom out for a minute, because while the HTAC is a local proposal for one city, it really connects to a much bigger, even global conversation. It's about a fundamental shift in how we think about the role of teachers in building the future of education. The famous educational philosopher John Dewey was writing about this almost 100 years ago. He argued that a teacher's role should evolve from just being an instructor to being a leader. This idea is central to the belief that teachers should be co-architects of policy, not just the people who have to carry it out. And that philosophy has an absolutely stunning real-world impact. Remember that 22% turnover rate for teachers who felt they had no authority? Well, look what happens when teachers are given high authority in collaborative roles. That rate plummets to just 6.6%. I mean, that is a massive, game-changing difference with huge implications for school stability, not to mention budgets. And this isn't just an American idea, this is a globally recognized best practice. Major international bodies like UNESCO completely affirm this principle. They say that the expertise of teachers is irreplaceable and that any meaningful reform can't just be handed down from on high, it has to be guided from the ground up by the pros who live it every day. Which kind of brings us right back to the fundamental question at the heart of this whole explainer. Whether we're talking about education or healthcare or any other complex field, how do we build systems that truly value and integrate the expertise of the people doing the work? It's a question that's definitely worth thinking about.